From the 1011 Now Alert Center, this is Morning Pulse, sponsored by Murray Roofing.
Good morning. This is Craig Allison with your Morning Pulse for Wednesday, December 17th. Now, we have breaking headlines this morning concerning Senator Dan McKeon, and we'll get to those stories later on in the show. But first off, just want to let you know again about our live format that's going on right now here at 1011. So be sure to catch us here at the streaming desk. But we're now going to throw things over to that local headline happening just this morning. So we're going to throw things over here. Now, this originally was supposed to be a court appearance. We're now learning new information this morning about state senator charged with disturbing the peace after a groping allegation. Senator Dan McKeon of Amherst finally entered a not guilty plea on Tuesday. Was originally due in court last Wednesday, but he failed to show up. Then on Saturday, the Nebraska Legislature's executive board voted unanimously to expel McKeon from the legislature, though only a recommendation. McKeon allegedly groped a female staff member at a party last spring. Now, with this new not guilty plea, his next court date is now set for January 26, 2026 at 11 a.m. So that's just next month on the 26th. So ignore this super on the lower part of the screen. That's new information coming in this morning, and we'll be sure to continue to keep following it here at 1011 Now. So be sure to stick with us as we work to get more updates on this developing story this morning. Now, throwing things over to our national headline this morning, President Trump has called for a total and complete blockade on all sanctioned oil tankers coming to and leaving Venezuela. In a social media post, he accused, quote, the illegitimate Maduro regime of using stolen oil to, quote, finance themselves, drug terrorism, human trafficking, murder, and kidnapping, end quote. Trump's order comes a week after the U.S. seized a sanctioned oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. The Trump administration has also launched strikes on suspected drug vessels in the Caribbean. We'll be sure to continue following that as well at 1011. In some more local headlines happening today, Lincoln's mayor will discuss the Lincoln on the Move annual report. Since it started back in 2019, the project has funded dozens of street improvement projects across the capital city. That funding comes from a quarter-cent sales tax in Lincoln, bringing in an estimated $18 million annually. Mayor will be joined by several other city officials to go over this year's report at 10:30 this morning. Your fourth story, the man accused of killing a Wisconsin woman and driving her body into Nebraska in her stolen car over the summer has again been found incompetent to stand trial. Gavin Thompson appeared in a Wisconsin courtroom last week where the judge ruled the incompetency and ordered him to be placed in a psychiatric hospital. Back in September, Thompson was evaluated to determine his mental capacity, where both Thompson and the judge found he's not ready for trial. In July, Thompson was arrested after a police chase and a massive manhunt ended on I-80 just outside of Lincoln. Inside, officers found Dorinda Sedgebrecht dead inside the car. At this time, no future appearances have been set for Thompson in that case. Fifth story, and in sports news, a Nebraska icon and boxing legend is hanging up the gloves. Omaha native Bud Crawford announcing his retirement on Tuesday. Crawford went 42-0 with 31 knockouts over his historic career. He won an undisputed world championship at 3 different weight divisions, but was recently stripped of his super middleweight title for not paying fees. He's considered one of the most accomplished athletes in Nebraska history. And wrapping things up with your final story, getting into the holiday spirit, if you're a grandparent in Lincoln and are struggling to afford presents for grandkids, there's actually a place dedicated just for you. Good Neighbor Community Center has a grandparents-only market-style shopping area where they can pick out toys and clothes for their grandkids. Store is stocked with donations, and just yesterday, a pallet load was delivered by a business wishing to stay anonymous. Center serves about 7 grandparents each weekday, and the shop has been open since December 1st. Now, having some technical difficulties with our graphics this morning, but I'll read out this quote from one of the people at the Good Neighbor Community Center. They say, quote, "I hope we can make that small change in your life like good change in each family who can come here. It's a good change to bring in the spirit of the holiday to them, put a smile on their face and their grandchildren. That's our purpose. That's why we're here," end quote. Now, shopping for this is by appointment only, and each person gets a time block of 30 minutes to shop to learn if you qualify or if there are appointments left. You can call that center over there and look them up. But if you want to donate toys to the center, they say they mostly need bigger toys for older kids aged 9 to 11. That's going to be your news for this morning. And before we toss it over to weather, again, still developing from Senator Dan McKeon on that case, and we'll continue to have updates in this case. Again, ignore the lower third there on the screen. We're now learning new information about the state senator charged with disrupting the peace after a groping accusation. Senator Dan McKeon has entered a not guilty plea. That happening on Tuesday. And again, his next court date is scheduled for January 26th of next year at 11 a.m. So be sure to stick with us at 10:11 now for more on this story. We're now going to toss things over to our 7-day forecast and then over to Brandon Rector.
Good Wednesday morning. Meteorologist Brandon Rector with you in the 1011 Severe Weather Center. It looks like we'll have variable cloudiness for today, so late morning, early afternoon, mostly sunny to partly cloudy. Then we'll increase those clouds as we head into this evening with a cold front moving into the area. It will be mainly cloudy with a 40% chance of rain. Now, it might get just cold enough before this precipitation completely wraps up early Thursday morning that we see some snow mixing in with the rain. Rainfall totals around a trace to a tenth of an inch possible. Very little to no snow accumulation is expected. It will be breezy today. Winds out of the south 10 to 20, gusting to 30 miles per hour, and seasonably mild. Temperatures at noon, mid 40s to mid 50s. At 4, we're in the low 50s to low 60s, low 40s to low 50s at 8 this evening. In Lincoln for today, high temperature of 57. That is almost 20 degrees above average for this time of the year.
You've been listening to 1011's Morning Pulse, sponsored by Murray Roofing. Watch, listen, stream on the 1011 Now app, on YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.